became kind of instantly forgettable in a sense because there's so many bigger targets for both of these sides. For Manchester United, though, could have gone worse, could have gone better.
Yeah, I think it was always tricky, and he alluded to that a couple of days ago when he said, I've got to manage my first-team players. He's got so many injuries already. So if you're Ten Hag, the dilemma you've got before the game is, do I risk some first-team players and risk them getting injured? Do I go with youth? The problem is if you go youth and protect your first-team players, you go in against Man City, you could come out with a 4 or 5-0 loss. That's damaging then. Everyone's then talking about, Ten Hag lost 5-0 against his rivals. But I thought he'd done the right thing. I thought the players played really well. I could see, and Bruno Fernandes makes a massive difference his first game back. Kobe Mainoo's first game back. So these guys are still trying to get up to speed. Like all the other teams, to be fair. It must be a bit of a weird week, I think, for managers, or a weird 10 days when you're trying to get minutes into your first-team players. But at the same time, you don't want to blast them out for 90 minutes, potentially risking an injury. So overall, I think when you look at the performance and you look at some individuals, I think Ten Hag will be pleased.
But it doesn't matter, does it?
No, it doesn't. I don't think it matters to either. I mean, Ten Hag saying, yeah, we missed out on another trophy. We kind of, Don was saying before a ball was kicked that he anticipated that that's kind of where his head was. But for Manchester City, the amount of times they've played in this Community Shield, the amount of time they've lost it, and it really didn't matter. Winning it is not at all going to be defining on their season. People only talk about the Community Shield in terms of Manchester City if they go on and win 2 other cups. If they win the league, then all of a sudden it gets added on at the back. They don't win anything else. I don't think anybody mentions the Community Shield, and the season's seen as a disappointment other than that. Nedum touched on it. I think the biggest thing for both managers from this is, as we from what we could tell, no injuries.
No,
and given, especially for Manchester United, the pre-season that they've had, with Højlund going down injured, I think he would have made a huge difference in the game today. Euro going down injured. We see the 2 starting centre-backs for Manchester United. You didn't want a repeat of that. Not a week before the season starts, not with your squad still as thin as it is.
I've got to say the standard of penalties were absolutely superb.
Yeah.
I mean, poor Johnny Evans, he must have been thinking, what am I doing here at Wembley? I'm not meant to be here, taking the penalty.
Taking the 8th pen.
Yeah, and it weren't a great pen. I do feel for him, but Man United should have won the game in the second half. But credit City, they got the job done, only just.
Yeah, that's the thing. You look at that Marcus Rashford chance in particular that United created. You look back at those opportunities in the second period of play and you think you let this one go.
Yeah, I mean, City can point to a couple of opportunities that they had in the first half. But truly, I thought Manchester United got better as the game went on, finished the first half strongly, and then, for me, were the better of the 2 teams. I thought that Rashford chance was as good as it gets. And we've seen strikers, and I can't help but think of Thierry Henry for some reason. That ball coming, open your body up, just tuck it away in the far corner. But it was so far off target. And that's the amazing thing for me, that it never really got close. But, you know, I guess it's a Community Shield. And while it's silverware, while it's a Manchester derby, and you see the reaction of both players and sets of stars, after this one, this is not really what they're here for. This is not what they'll be judged on.
More questions, I think, for Man City than Man United.
Well, I think you've got to question what's going on with Haaland with regards to supply.
No
did
service.
Nothing in that 90 minutes. And that's the discussions that we have had in the past over the last 12 months about City and that front line.
I mean, City fans will say, yeah, they didn't have Bernardo Silva for a full 90, didn't have Kevin De Bruyne a full 90, and they're valid points, but he was starved of service. So I think when Ten Hag comes out of that game, any manager coming out of the game, when you lose on penalties, you go, listen, the performance was good. But Man United, as we said, should have won the game because they were a better team. They had more patterns of play. City just looked a little bit, I don't even think it was leggy. I just think it was, we talk about players potentially going out and players potentially coming in. They need something.
But is that just pre-season?
Yeah.
Like when it comes to Chelsea at the weekend, they obviously will find that extra gear.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you had said to Guardiola before the game, you're going to lose this game, but you'll take 3 points off Chelsea.
Yeah.
He'd have bitten your hand off.
Of course.
So there's plenty of time to work on things. But I just thought, and I still think, with Erling Haaland leading the line for nearly every domestic game, Champions League football, it's a lot of games for him not to be, or to be at full tilt and not take an injury. So I know we're going off piece slightly, but I thought there was more questions for Guardiola to think, I might need to add one just to freshen the squad up.